Hi there. Welcome to my webinar. My name is Catherine Pelosi-Smith. I am a registered holistic nutritionist. I reside in Guelph, I work in Waterloo, and I see clients from all over Ontario. I do have a few clients that I've seen in the United States and a few out west as well, but predominantly in Ontario. So thank you for coming. The top three most effective ways to reconnect to your body and really uncover that ultimate health potential there. Why why is this a big thing for me? Well, um, growing up, I've had some struggles with food. I had some struggles with digestion. I had some struggles with hormone imbalance, and everything sort of came to a peak in my 20s where I had really bad acne. I had really bad indigestion, and a lot of things were just not going so well, and it was affecting my overall quality of life as well. And I just noticed that I didn't know what was going on and I couldn't explain it as well. So I went to see my medical doctor. I was diagnosed with IBS. I was told I had IBS, and was told to kind of deal with it and move on with my life. And I'm not the type of person to say that that's okay. And that wasn't enough for me. I needed to dig a little bit deeper and get to some root causes. And I really needed to figure out what worked for me and what I needed personally. So through that, I did a lot of, um, self discovery. I went to see a lot of natural practitioners, and through working with a bunch of different ones in a holistic perspective, I was able to discover a lot of things about myself. I actually had low thyroid function. I had adrenal fatigue. I was completely burnt out. My digestive system was maxed out. Um, and everything was I was just overloaded with toxins. And I needed to give myself a bit of a break. And through kind of this whole healing journey that I went on, I really discovered a lot of new things about myself, including some foods that I cut out of my diet that just weren't serving me, new ways of moving my body that worked better for me. And I really was able to figure out what worked best for me. And what I love about this sort of reconnection journey is that our bodies are constantly changing. They're always evolving, especially as women. We are hormonal fluctuations that just move through life. And if we are having children, as we go through menopause, all of these changes are constantly happening. We are always needing to find ways to reconnect to our body because we're constantly changing. So, although I went through this major transformation in my 20s after having children, I'm still going through these reconnecting stages. So, follow along with me. We're going to talk about the top three ways that you can reconnect back to your body. And these are ways that I work with my clients every day, and seeing these changes and seeing how people really um, just have a completely new perspective on their own bodies. All right. So, food is the most powerful tool for changing your life. I strongly believe this. Food is information, and every day we eat food. So, a lot of the time, what goes into your body and what we are consuming can completely change our cellular structure. I already introduced myself, but I'm Catherine. These are a few of my accolades and my association, the Canadian Association of Natural Nutritional Practitioners. If you want to look me up, that's where I am. I went to school at the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. You can find me on Instagram, Mind Body Spirit Mama. I'm also on Facebook, and my website is www.mindbodyspiritmama.com. All right. So if you're wondering if you're in the right place, you are if you are experiencing any of the following. So if you have sort of digestive issues, headaches, hormonal imbalances, any aches and pains, if you're suffering from low energy, any depression or anxiety or other mental health issues, mood swings, skin conditions, if you've been gaining weight or losing weight even, this is a good place to start here. So, your body is always trying to reach homeostasis. So, ideally, that's our balance, a balancing system of our body. And when we undergo different transformations, things like trauma, just natural aging, prolonged exposure of certain toxins or chemicals or things like that, our bodies sometimes need a little bit of assistance to get to that balance point. And so that's where this whole thing comes in. Because once you're able to sort of connect back to your body and notice what works for you, you can start to follow its lead. And then you kind of let your body do what it needs to do in order to be healthy. So some of the questions of like, why am I not feeling my best? What's going on? Yes, I'm having sort of all of these symptoms, but where does it stem from? So this is where what I look at with my clients. We always start by addressing some of these areas, and we take a look at diving deep into the more of those deeper symptoms and rooted causes. So we look at metabolism, we look at hormones, we look at inflammation and food intolerances. We look at the state of your gut microbiome. How is your gut health? Nutrient deficiencies as well. And what's your stress level like? Everybody's going through so much stress right now. And it's a big factor when it comes to our overall health, as well as sleep, very important as well. So the key factor here is that you can feel energized, you can be lean and free from all of this discomfort. So, once you're ready to take on life with this new motivation and purpose, all you have to do is really work at reconnecting to your body. And you can have all of this motivation and all of this purpose and really feel your absolute best. All right, let's get into the top 3 ways to reconnect to your body. So, number one is going to be diet related. As a nutritionist, this is the key area that I focus on, is about food and what we are consuming and putting into our bodies for fuel. So the number one thing that I like to do is follow a discovery diet. So uh, this is also known as an elimination style diet, where you remove certain foods from your diet and then you reintroduce them and see how they make you feel. Now, the elimination diet in itself is very extensive and quite restrictive. So, when I'm working with my clients, we take a look at what their capacity is, and what their end goals are as well. So, if your goal is to discover potential food sensitivities, then we want to sort of eliminate as much as we can so that there's a broader range of potential trigger foods. If our goal is to reduce inflammation or for weight management, all that kind of stuff, we will focus on some key areas instead, and maybe not all of the foods on the list. So it depends on the person. And I should mention too, when I'm working with clients, it's all about the person and the individual needs of each client, and I kind of take your lead as to what your goals and what your capacity is as well, in what you feel that you can do to make changes in your lifestyle and for your health as well. So discovery diet, I sort of changed the name of elimination diet because I find discovery is so much more positive. It's about discovering what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and as simple as that. Elimination is kind of, it just has a negative connotation to it. So what is a discovery diet? Like I mentioned, eliminating some foods out of your diet for about 4 weeks at a time. And then you go through about a 2 to 4 week period of reintroduction, one food at a time, and see how those foods make you feel. I find that this gives a lot of information, and there are some very amazing benefits to doing this type of diet as well. And we'll go through those. So the top 3, the discovery diet helps to identify food triggers. So if you do feel like there might be a sensitivity or there might be an intolerance there, this is a great great place to start. It also helps to reduce inflammation, supports a healthy microbiome. It helps to optimize your digestion, increase phytonutrient intake, reduce your toxic load. And we'll get into a little bit more detail on each of those. So, number one, identifying trigger foods. So, you might think, I eat all types of food. I don't have any reactions. I already know that, and it's totally fine. But I'm still feeling a little bit off. Well, that's definitely possible. But it's really common for people who are in a state of inflammation or heavy inflammation, who have types of digestive symptoms and things like that, to not even realize that there might be an underlying food sensitivity there. So I always like to start here and kind of move forward, kind of peeling back the different layers. Because sometimes we don't even realize how wonderful we can feel when we remove a certain food. We kind of just go along living our life at this steady level of inflammation with these steady level of symptoms, and not even realize how much better we can actually feel. So the difference here between food allergy, food sensitivity, and food intolerance, there's a few differences. So when you have a true allergy, you're looking at an IgE immune response. And this is what they test sort of for anaphylactic shock. And this is the immune response that you would receive from that. It's pretty immediate and requires assistance right away. Food sensitivity is a different type of immune response, and this is looking at IgG, IgA, and IgM antibodies. This can come up in a food sensitivity test that is done, and you can kind of see what your levels are at and how your immune system responds in that way. Food intolerance is more of an indirect immune activation. So this can be a potentially sort of delayed response, and it doesn't always trigger immune. So it could be, after longer exposure to certain ingredients, and just increased inflammation overall in the body. Whereas food sensitivity could be more of a, digestive upset, gas, bloating, constipation kind of thing like that. Or whereas either of them could result in like a skin reaction, but it could be 24 hours, 48 hours after consumption. So there's different ways to look at how these foods can trigger you, and the best way to do that is to play around with it a little bit and see what works for you and what doesn't. So another reason the Discovery Diet is really great is it helps to reduce overall inflammation. So because you're going to be removing a lot of those inflammatory foods from your body, it just really allows the body to heal during that time, and just reduces some of that chronic inflammation that we can experience over prolonged periods of exposure to those foods. So there's different types of inflammation. There's acute and chronic. Acute inflammation is actually a good thing. We like to have some acute inflammation in traumatic experiences in our body because we need the healing to occur. Now, what happens is if we are experiencing inflammation over a prolonged period of time, we start to develop chronic inflammation, and it is an inflammation that does not go away. And this is the type of inflammation that is now being found to be more of the leading cause of all of these diseases. So you're looking at like cardiovascular disease, neurological diseases, diabetic complications, metabolic disorders, and all of that. So definitely taking a look at lowering inflammation is another one place to get started if you're having, these negative symptoms. So some of the foods that are really inflammatory that we definitely take a look at removing are gluten, dairy, sugar, and processed foods, because these really don't have the best place in our body. Some people can handle them in moderation, but they just tend to be more on just higher on the inflammatory scale. Healthy gut versus leaky gut. So another thing that is so wonderful about the Discovery diet, because you are removing these inflammatory foods, it really allows for healing to occur in your intestinal system as well, in the overall digestive system. So when we're looking at a healthy gut versus a leaky gut, if you've heard of leaky gut before, this is a wonderful diagram that I love to show clients because it's very it's very explanatory, and it's beautiful as well with all of these lovely colors and everything. So I'm just going to use my mouse to kind of go around and explain a little bit here. So when we have a healthy gut, this is what we're looking at. These little images here are things like pathogens. They are things like undigested food particles, and nutrients and things like that that come in through our food, through our water. And what happens is they go through our digestive system and they come into our intestinal system. Now, along the lining of our intestines, we have these little cells here. They're mucosal cells that line the outside of our intestines. And they have these little finger-like things at the top that are called microvilli. That is what everything is absorbed through. Now, in between these cells, there's these tight junctions. And what happens is it's supposed to keep these cells tight together, and to not allow things to pass through. Now, when we have a leaky gut over on this side, we're looking at these compromised junctions, and that allows larger particles to pass through instead of going through the microvilli at the top. So you're, absorbing all of these antibodies, undigested food particles, and that is what is going into the bloodstream and creating this sort of immune response to those items. They're like, these aren't supposed to be here. What is happening? And this is how sometimes you can develop food sensitivity. So you might not be naturally sensitive to certain foods, but over time, if you have a leaky gut as the underlying issue, this can create some food sensitivity. So I've seen with a lot of clients that once they're able to really heal their gut over time, they're able to reintroduce some of these foods that they once thought were intolerant foods or sensitive foods. So very important here. I get really scientifically like nerded out with this stuff. I find it very, very interesting how it all works. And in a simple way is just to know that by removing some of these inflammatory foods, especially gluten is one of the key sort of foods. It contains gliadin, which in short story, actually compromises these tight junctions and actually tears these cells apart a little bit more and allows for these foods to pass through. So especially if you have celiac, this is an area that you should watch out for. But yeah, even if you are just sensitive to gluten, eliminating it from your diet can really allow for some healing to occur. And that just moves us into how our intestinal system affects our brain health as well. So nerve endings in the intestinal lining, they actually lead directly to our brain. So when we have leaky gut or we have intolerances and sensitivities going on, or inflammation, we are creating inflammation in our brain as well as things like chemicals and particles. They can pass through as well to the brain and can create these behavioral changes and create negative moods as well. So just here, there was a study in 2010 that was published in the Scandinavian Journal of Gastroenterology. They found that people who had a reaction to gluten-containing foods, specifically like wheat, barley, rye, they were twice as likely to suffer from depression than those who did not react to these foods. So a lot of new research is being done in this area of how our gut health is related to our brain health and neurological development and all of that kind of stuff. And so it's just really interesting if you have any of those sort of gut symptoms This is a great place to take a look at too if you have some mood disorders or imbalances and things like that. Healing the gut is a great area to take a look at. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about increasing our beneficial microbes. So, this is another area, it's not always part of the Discovery Diet plan, but it does help overall when you are on sort of a healing path as well. So, taking a look at some things that are reducing your good bacteria overall are things like antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, other medications. If you're under a lot of stress, if you consume a lot of processed foods, or you're exposed to pesticides and toxins, or you're using a lot of antibacterial products as well, like hand sanitizer and things like that. And if you have low stomach acid that are not able to neutralize the pathogens that are being consumed in your diet or through water or things like that. So all of these areas we take a deeper dive into, making sure that you're minimizing these exposures so that you're able to have a better balance of good bacteria in your body as well, which is very important for overall good gut health, and to help to populate that gut microbiome for just overall good health. Okay. Another area that is really wonderful and super important for our health in general is optimizing our digestion. So this is probably the place that I always start with clients, is key ways to take a look at how our digestion is functioning at this current moment. So things like chewing properly, potentially doing some intermittent fasting. How do you engage your parasympathetic nervous system so that you are in a resting and digesting state? And then consuming things like fiber and pre and probiotics as well. So some ways that you can really help to optimize your digestion are increasing your hydrochloric acid in your stomach. So you can take things like apple cider vinegar. You can take a digestive enzyme, which would also contain a little bit of bile and help you to get those enzymes secreted properly if they are not doing that already on their own. The gut lining and nutrient absorption. So really taking a look at healing that gut lining and making sure that the nutrients that you are consuming are being absorbed. So that is really why digestion is such a key area, is because you could be eating all of the most amazing foods nutritionally, but if your digestion isn't working properly, you're not going to be able to digest them and assimilate those nutrients and actually use them for their intended purpose. So the last one here is just being able to excrete waste as well. So making sure that you're eliminating at least once every day so that the wastes are not being built up and being reabsorbed back into your bloodstream as well. So very important with that. Some ways to minimize your toxic load as well. So we talked a little bit about, chemicals and pesticides and things like that, and how they can affect your gut lining, create kind of issues with your cellular health as well. But really taking a look, I mean, everyone's toxic load is different. So it's something that can be determined by your genetics. We pass on our toxins to our babies. We receive toxins that our parents had in their DNA. Things like heavy metals get passed. That's just what happens in our bodies. And a little bit of toxins we are able to process. Our bodies are super amazing, and we're able to detox them very well. But over time, if we are exposed to them in large amounts, continuously, they do build up in our system. So taking a look at the exposure, and that it also includes our diet and what we're consuming. So key areas would be eliminating chemical additives and colors and flavorings and all that kind of stuff, and really focusing on natural organic ingredients. I know there are some different schools of thought out there when it comes to organic food, and saying that they're not as nutritious. They contain the same amount of nutrients as non-organic foods. However, they just do not contain as many toxins and chemicals and pesticides on them as well. So you really are doing yourself a favor by consuming organic food. I know that that's not always possible, and it can be quite expensive. And it's hard to get organic food sometimes. We live in an area where our growing season is very short, and the availability is not always there. So they have created the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. This is my go-to guide. The Dirty Dozen are foods that are very highly sprayed or highly higher in chemicals or genetically modified, things like that, that should be chosen organic when possible. And then the Clean 15 are foods that you can kind of get away with consuming non-organic. They either have thicker skins, or they just are not sprayed as much, and tend to be a little bit better for you than the Dirty Dozen as well. So that's a great kind of list to go by, and it's one that I use with my own family as well. So even nutritionists do not eat completely fully organic all the time. So don't feel bad. And the last area that is so wonderful when looking at the discovery diet, of why it is so beneficial, is because it really promotes body awareness. And this is the key to reconnecting back to your body. So I have chills right now because I get so excited about this. Keeping a food and mood journal of what you're consuming and when you're reintroducing foods and things like that, and really just tuning in to your own self and your own reactions and how you're feeling in your body, and keeping track of that over time. You can take a look back and be like, oh my goodness, I made this connection. Or when I didn't drink a lot of water, this is what happened. Or when I consume a lot of dairy, I don't feel so well. Or gluten in moderation is okay. Or all of these types of things. It's a complete mind, body, and spirit connection overall. And it's probably the most exciting thing to see clients go through and experience, because everyone has their own individual experience at the end of the day of what they connect with, what they recognize. And it just really, sets you up for the future as well, and where you want to go with your personal health. Listen closely to your body. It will tell you everything you need to know. And I just truly believe this. I think, um, our bodies are always trying to tell us something, whether it's screaming, whether it's whispering. Try to tune in as best as you can, and it will tell you what you need to know. Intuition, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever, whatever connection you need to make. All right, so number one was diet. Number two is personalized supplemental support. So this is super, super important, because diet is the foundation, and supplementation is how do we fill in those gaps, and how do we take everything to the next level? How do we really support that diet in general and get you what you need? To take you to the just level up a little bit. And that kind of looks like this here. So why supplement? We're looking at things like potential deficiencies. So sometimes whole foods are just not adequate. If you're already in a deficient state, it can take a lot to bring those levels back up. For example, iron. I work with a lot of pregnant women, postpartum women. Iron is a big one, and it takes a while to to get those levels back up. And unfortunately, I just have not seen levels being reached just through diet. So supplementation is a key area to take a look at when when you really need to get your levels up. Another reason you might want to supplement is just to give your system a jump start. So sometimes, it just needs a little bit of a boost, like your detox pathways. Like your body detoxes naturally on its own, but sometimes it needs a little bit of support. Same with digestion. I mean, our bodies are always digesting, but sometimes we just don't have the enzyme capacity or those digestive juices to do what we need to do. So supplementing a little bit there can really get things again to that next level a little bit quicker as well. Speeding up results. Yes. So doing things a little bit quicker. Sometimes, just to get the most out of all the effort that you put in, especially during a 4-week discovery diet or something like that, you want to get as much as you can out of it. So supplementing can really just get the results that you need a little bit quicker as well. So here are some key supplements. When I'm working with clients, it's completely individualized and personal. So I'm not going to sit here and say that all of these supplements are something you should be taking, but these are some key ones that I definitely find are very helpful overall. For most of the sort of average population. Obviously, quantities would be dependent on the person, but we'll just go through a few of them here. So magnesium, this is a really, really wonderful one when people come to me with any type of digestive upset or need some help with sleep or relaxing. I see a lot of stressed women in my practice. Magnesium is a wonderful place to start as well. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is fantastic for helping boost your immune system, but it's also wonderful for bone strength and improving mood. So, for my clients who are really into physical activity, vitamin D is really good to help strengthen their bones as well and help them feel a little bit stronger overall and help with their mental health. Probiotics are fantastic to really jumpstart your overall gut health. So if you're doing any type of cleanse or detox, and you've kind of removed a lot of the bad bacteria, it's definitely important to replenish with some good bacteria so that they can do what they need to do in helping to digest your food. Probiotics can also help to balance mood as well. As we learned, there is a strong connection between our gut health and our brain health. And our mood as well. So making sure that there's some good bacteria in there can make a big difference. Omega-3s, especially DHA is a big one, helps to lower inflammation overall. So removing those foods are going to help, but also introducing some more omega-3s will help to get that to the next level as well. As well for brain development and really highly researched link to improving mood. So that's a really, really great one as well. Digestive enzymes are a great place to start if you're having any digestive issues, if you're finding you need to break down your food a little bit better, and you want to get more out of the foods that you are consuming. That's a great place, as well as adrenal support. So if you are stressed out, if you are dealing with some adrenal fatigue, some support, whether it is through herbals, whether it is amino acids, rhodiola, ashwagandha, L-theanine. These are all wonderful to help support adrenal function and help to change your stress response as well. So you feel more supported in that way. Really, really great in that area. There's some others that are really wonderful, some key supplementation. Things like iron or L-glutamine is really good for your gut health. Activated charcoal can help kind of pull out toxins. We're looking at curcumin is really good for inflammation. Mitochondrial formula can help boost your cellular health just overall and kind of get good cell reproduction happening. And then if I find that, there might be some underlying gut issues, overgrowth, if you do have some testing that you had done with like a naturopath or functional medicine doctor, we can kind of help assist you with a full-on gut protocol as well, so that you feel supported in the whole journey of rehabilitation for for your gut. So, number one, diet. Number two, supplementation. Number three is lifestyle practices. And this is a really broad kind of uh, area because it's so individualized. But this is really where it ties everything together. So, you can focus on your diet, you can focus on supplementation. But if you're not sort of including your lifestyle and your habits and changing things a little bit, it's you're not going to see long lasting results and it's not going to be sustainable. So this is where that whole mind body spirit connection comes in, and it really just helps you to tune in to reconnecting to your body. So it's all about holistic approach to reconnecting. So obviously, each body system is connected to and dependent on one another. And in order to, improve one area, we have to consider our beings as a whole. So this is kind of, what we put into and on our bodies is just as important. And then what we do and who we surround ourselves with, and what we feel emotionally, mentally, and physically, they all play a really key part in the quality of our overall health. So we're looking at physical health here. Physical care could look like some aromatherapy, taking nice warm baths, massage, body movement, making sure you're getting quality sleep, breath work. That's one of my personal favorites. Acupuncture and osteochiro work. So these are all sort of on a physical level, ways that you can really just take care of your body and understand what your body needs in that regard. Mental health. So, some mental care could look at like things like meditation, journaling, positive affirmations, education, learning about new areas, reading, setting boundaries, coaching, counseling, therapy, things like that can really help with your overall mental health. And then emotional health. So, how do we care for our emotional or energetic being? So, this could be things like body work, meditation, again, Reiki, counseling, prayer, worship, whatever that looks like for you. So, it just depends on what resonates with you. And at the end of the day, it's about clearing blockages that might be there. It's a really strong connection between our emotions and energy and the physical ailments that we experience in our body. So sometimes we can be doing all the right things in other areas like diet and supplementation, but we still find that there are some energetic blockages that need to be cleared in order to allow for that deeper rooted healing to occur. So, those are the top three ways to reconnect back to your body. We're looking at your diet being number one, number two being supplementation, and number three being overall lifestyle. So, you might have already known this deep down that these are areas that can really contribute to optimizing your full health potential. But we just dove a little bit deeper into ways that can help and the ways that can assist in getting you there. So. Um, I will just talk a little bit about my program, my Back to Your Body program that I run with my clients. I've been doing this for a couple years now, and it's so amazing. And it just makes me so, so happy to see people reconnect back to their bodies and really take control of their health. I just love it's all about empowering people to get the most out of their personal health. And what does that look like? So the Back to Your Body program is it's a fully supported 8-week program that guides you to uncovering your true health potential. It is Well, it starts off actually with a 75-minute initial nutritional consultation where we go through your goals, what you're looking for. We go through your health history, complete what are your symptoms, what have you been dealing with, so that I get a good, deep, full picture. If you've done if you ask anybody who's done the program in the past, it's a lot of forms to fill out, but it really gives me a holistic view as to what your needs are. So from there, I devise a complete plan for you. It's completely personalized. So although it is a program, I have a very sort of I have a shell of a program, and I fill it in to each individual as to how it's going to look, and based off of your individual needs. So in the first week, we go over your complete plan, and you have a complete um, meal plans as well as recipes to help guide you that are fit for exactly the type of discovery diet that is going to work for you. You get all support documents. All types of information and supplementation that you might need as well. So we go over that in your week one. In your week two, we do an email check-in as well as in week four. So it just provides you with some extra, accountability and support if needed. You would receive a weekly email check-in anyways, but week two, we do not have a actual one-to-one personal appointment. In weeks 3 and 5, we do have follow-up consultations. And this is week 3 is a check-in consultation to make sure you're feeling like you're on track and you're feeling fully supported. And week 5 is preparation for your reintroduction phase of the foods that you've eliminated. Weeks 6 and 7, these are again sort of check-ins, providing sort of accountability and motivational tips as needed. I should mention too, throughout your program of 8 weeks, I am available through email, and I also provide my personal telephone number. So if you are feeling like you need additional support, you can text me at any time, because this is what I'm here for. I'm here to support you and make you feel like you have all the tools needed to be successful. And then in week 8, this is your final consultation. And this is when we just discuss how everything went, your progress, how you're feeling, and any future goals that you might have as well. So the program highlights, it's completely virtual. So it's all accessible online from anywhere at any time. You can download all of the recipes yourself. You can just access any information. It all gets sent to you in a lovely bundled package, and super easy. And it helps save the environment as well, with not having to print a bunch of copies. It's completely personalized too. So it depends on what your individual goals and needs are. The structure is super easy to follow. So that is what I pride myself on, as well as making things very clear and very simple. So hoping that you never feel sort of overwhelmed with the amount of information that you're provided with, and you always feel as supported as possible. There's ongoing support throughout the whole program, so that you feel accountable and motivated as well. I have a lot of proven client success that have gone through my program as well. I have a few testimonials that I'll share as well. And then overall, it just really helps to regain energy, confidence, to really help you achieve what you want to achieve. When health is when poor health is out of the picture, it allows so much room and so much space to do all the things that you really want to do and things that you can focus on. So that's why I'm here to help you. And just breaking it down so that you can see what is included, and the cost. It's really nothing crazy, because it just pretty much covers my time and some of the resources. So we're looking at, the initial consultation. You get 4 follow-up consultations, the 4-week meal plan examples, a complete recipe bank. This is ongoing as well. You get complete access to this. And then all of the support documents. So you have the, I believe it's almost 30 pages of this guide to the discovery diet, food and mood journals, the weekly support and accountability emails as well, ongoing support for you. So the whole package is really valued over $800, probably more than that with all the time that goes into it. And the special package pricing is just $597 overall. And that's just a, one-time fee. Everything's included in that. And I do offer some payment plans as well. And you probably, if you do have nutritional coverage, they do cover this as well. So take a look if you're wondering with what benefits company you're with. It is covered for nutritional services. And now I just want to share some of my client testimonies that were pretty awesome over the past couple of years. So the meal plan was very valuable. It is easy to tell people what to eat, how much, what not to eat, but having an actual meal plan to follow makes it so easy to follow in the beginning, especially. I also cannot believe how much I loved dairy-free, grain-free meals. So I really love this. This was a client, Karen, of mine. She was so awesome in this program. She was one of my first clients actually that went through the program, and she just couldn't believe, the alternatives that are available, and found that in making the lifestyle changes, it was just, it ended up being pretty easy for her. And she lost about 20 pounds throughout it as well. That was one of her goals, was to lose weight, and to sort of, it was post pregnancy, and was trying to just feel better in her body as well, and was really successful in that. She did a lot of hard work. This was another client of mine. I couldn't seem to lose weight at all, even though I have been able to somewhat easily in the past. Through working together, my body seemed to be reset or kickstarted, and I was finally able to see weight released. I also gained knowledge on which foods make me feel yucky, bloated, tired, etc., with one in particular being a surprise. Was sugar. I also took notice of how much sugar was in my diet, and have been able to make changes that benefit my entire family. So this was Erin. This is a woman with lots of kids, and she was looking to make a change. And I just love that these changes that she instilled in her own, life, trickled down into her family life as well. And her kids get to see how wonderful she started feeling, which just like warms my heart as well. This was another client. Take time to really commit to the program to figure out what works for you. This was my first discovery diet, and it was so hard, but so worth it in the end. It's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy, but if you, hold on and use the supports, you'll really get those awesome results. And just this last one here, learning about my body's specific needs allowed me to make informed decisions regarding my daily food intake and lifestyle choices. I can now make choices that are authentic to my needs, which is so much more helpful than the cookie cutter diet regime. So this was Jen. She was, trying to uncover some underlying issues that was going on, and she really now feels so empowered of what choices she can make with her body, and just really successful overall as well in reconnecting to her body. So a year from now, you will wish you had started today. I got to throw that in. If you are interested in chatting more, you can book a free 15-minute discovery call today. Get started reconnecting. We can chat to see if my services are right for you, if this program is right for you, or there's another area that you would like to focus on. I'd love to chat, answer any questions that you might have. And Yeah, if you book your free 15-minute discovery call by September 10th, you can receive 20% off all of your recommended supplements as well. So I do supplementation through FullScript, and I'm happy to provide that service for you as well. And that's just if if you book a free 15-minute call, and then if we end up working together, you will receive the 20% off your supplements. So if you'd like to book that, you can go to my website, which is www.mindbodyspiritmama.com. And you can just click under book, and you can decide which clinic you'd like to book with based off of my availability and times that work for you. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me as well through my website, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I am on Instagram at mind.body.spirit.mama. And yeah, I would love to connect with you. And that's about it. Yeah. Thank you so much for participating in this webinar. I hope you learned something new. I hope you feel, motivated and empowered to reconnect to your body, take back control over your health, and begin feeling your ultimate self. Take care.